Have you ever felt like the universe was trying to tell you something? Maybe you were in a relationship, and no matter how hard you tried, things just didn't work out. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine was deeply in love with someone, but every time they tried to take their relationship to the next level, something would go wrong. Misunderstandings, endless arguments, and even strange coincidences kept popping up. At some point, she started wondering, was this a sign? In today's video, I want to explore what happens when the universe might be guiding you away from someone. Let's dive in. Unexplainable obstacles keep appearing. Have you ever felt like every step you take in a relationship is met with unexpected challenges? Sometimes the universe doesn't intervene in obvious ways, like a booming voice telling you to walk away, but instead creates subtle barriers that make moving forward almost impossible. You might start noticing recurring patterns, plans constantly falling apart, misunderstandings escalating into major conflicts, or even external events that seem to sabotage your connection. For instance, imagine a couple who truly care for each other but can never seem to be in the same place at the same time. Travel gets delayed, emergencies arise, or financial problems come out of nowhere. While one or two coincidences might not feel significant, when these hurdles become a consistent part of your relationship, they could be a signal that this partnership isn't meant to flourish. It's not just about bad luck. These obstacles can serve as lessons or reminders that force you to evaluate whether the relationship is truly aligned with your personal growth and happiness. Perhaps the delays and setbacks are gently nudging you to reflect. Is this effort worth it? Is this the person who will help me become the best version of myself? At times, the universe seems to conspire to protect you from a situation that might ultimately hold you back, even if it doesn't feel that way at the moment. These barriers aren't necessarily punishments, they're opportunities to pause, reframe, and choose a better path for your future. You feel constant emotional turmoil. Relationships are meant to bring joy, support, and a sense of stability. But what happens when instead they leave you feeling emotionally drained, anxious, or even lost? Emotional turmoil is one of the clearest signs that something might not be right. It's not just the occasional argument or misunderstanding, every relationship has those, but a persistent underlying unease that never seems to go away. Imagine waking up each day feeling tense about what might go wrong or constantly questioning where you stand with someone. You may find yourself overthinking every conversation, replaying moments in your mind, or doubting your worth because of their actions or lack thereof. This turmoil might manifest as sleepless nights, sudden mood swings, or even physical symptoms like headaches or fatigue. Emotional chaos in a relationship often stems from unmet needs or an imbalance in energy. Maybe you're giving far more than you're receiving, or you're constantly trying to fix problems that shouldn't exist in the first place. Over time, this imbalance chips away at your confidence and leaves you in a cycle of frustration and sadness. The universe often uses this inner turmoil as a signal, urging you to pay attention. It's as if your soul is trying to tell you this isn't where you're meant to be. When emotional turbulence becomes the norm rather than the exception, it's a sign that the connection might not be serving your higher purpose. It's also important to recognize that constant emotional distress can block you from focusing on other aspects of your life, like your passions, friendships, or personal growth. The energy you spend trying to make this relationship work could be redirected towards something far more fulfilling, something that aligns with your true self. Your emotions are powerful guides. If being with someone leaves you feeling more uncertain than uplifted, it might be time to reevaluate. The discomfort you're experiencing isn't there to punish you. It's there to wake you up to the truth that you deserve peace, clarity, and happiness. Communication breakdowns are constant. Communication is the backbone of any strong relationship, but what happens when it becomes a constant source of frustration? When misunderstandings, arguments, or complete silence dominate your interactions, It may be more than just a rough patch. Frequent communication breakdowns can signal a deeper incompatibility that the universe might be trying to highlight. Think about it. Do you often feel like your words are being misinterpreted, or that your partner isn't really listening to you? Do conversations spiral into conflicts over the smallest issues, leaving you both feeling unheard and resentful? When communication turns into a battlefield, it creates emotional distance and erodes trust over time. It's not just about speaking different love languages, it's about an inability or unwillingness to bridge the gap. One partner may try to express their needs or concerns, while the other reacts defensively or dismissively. Over time, this pattern can leave you feeling like you're speaking to a wall, no matter how hard you try to connect. When communication consistently falters, it often reflects a lack of emotional safety. You might feel afraid to bring up certain topics because you know they'll lead to an argument or dismissal. Instead of creating a space where both partners can be vulnerable, the relationship becomes a place of tension and avoidance. The universe sometimes uses these persistent issues as a way to tell you, this dynamic isn't healthy. Healthy relationships thrive on open and honest dialogue, where both parties feel understood and valued. If you find yourself constantly walking on eggshells or fighting the same battles over and over, it might be time to ask yourself whether this connection is truly sustainable. It's also important to note that unresolved communication issues can spill over into other aspects of your life. The mental and emotional energy spent trying to fix these problems can leave you feeling drained and distracted, affecting your work, friendships, and overall happiness. Ultimately, the universe may be creating these challenges to push you towards a relationship where communication flows naturally. A relationship where your voice is heard, your feelings are validated, and your connection is built on mutual respect and understanding. Strange coincidences push you apart. Sometimes the most baffling signs from the universe come in the form of strange coincidences. These aren't just minor inconveniences, but repeated, almost eerie events that seem designed to keep you and someone else apart. If you find yourself constantly facing unexpected circumstances that derail plans or create distance, it may be worth questioning whether these occurrences are simply bad luck or something more. Picture this. Every time you and your partner plan something important, an obstacle arises out of nowhere. It could be a cancelled trip due to unexpected work obligations, a sudden family emergency, or even random events like traffic jams or misplaced belongings that prevent you from being together. While one or two instances might be easy to dismiss, a pattern of disruption suggests there may be a deeper force at play. These coincidences often happen when you're ignoring your intuition or overlooking red flags in the relationship. The universe might be stepping in, creating situations that force you to pause and reflect. Maybe the relationship feels forced, or you're trying to hold on to someone who isn't aligned with your journey. In such cases, these coincidences serve as wake-up calls, urging you to reconsider the connection. It's also possible that these events are protecting you from something you can't yet see. Perhaps the person isn't who they appear to be, or the relationship could lead to greater pain down the line. The universe works in mysterious ways, and these disruptions might be saving you from a path that isn't meant for your growth or happiness. While it can be frustrating and even heartbreaking to deal with repeated interruptions, these moments are an invitation to trust the bigger picture. Instead of fighting against these coincidences, take a step back and ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Am I holding on to something that no longer serves me? Strange coincidences aren't punishments, they're clues. They point you toward a path that aligns better with your purpose, even if it means letting go of someone you care about. By paying attention to these signs, you may discover that the universe has something far greater in store for you, something that doesn't require constant resistance to make it work. Your goals and values clash. A strong and lasting relationship is built on shared goals and compatible values. However, when two people are fundamentally misaligned in these areas, it creates an invisible yet insurmountable barrier. If you often find yourselves pulling in different directions, it could be a sign that the universe is signaling this connection isn't meant to last. Think about your long-term dreams and aspirations. Do you want a life filled with travel while they prioritize settling down in one place? Do you envision a career-driven lifestyle while they value simplicity and minimal commitments? These differences may seem minor at first, but over time, they become larger obstacles that make harmony increasingly difficult to achieve. Values, such as your beliefs about family, finances, or even morality, play an even greater role. For instance, one of you might prioritize independence and freedom, while the other seeks security and routine. When your values are in conflict, it's not just about daily compromises. It's about a deeper disconnect in how you view the world and your place in it. These clashes don't necessarily mean that one person is right and the other is wrong. Instead, they highlight fundamental differences in what you both consider essential for happiness. This disconnect can lead to constant frustration, with one or both partners feeling misunderstood or unsupported. Sometimes, these conflicts are subtle at first. You may brush them aside, thinking love will conquer all. But over time, they reveal themselves in bigger decisions: where to live, how to spend your time, or how to raise a family. When these differences start to dominate your thoughts, it's a clear sign that something deeper needs attention. The universe often uses these misalignments to push you toward greater self-awareness. It's a nudge to reflect on what truly matters to you and whether this relationship aligns with your core identity. While it's painful to acknowledge, staying in a relationship where your goals and values don't align can stifle your growth and prevent you from living authentically. Recognizing these clashes isn't about blame or failure. It's about understanding that a healthy relationship isn't just about love. It's about partnership, mutual respect, and a shared vision for the future. If you're constantly compromising on what matters most to you, it might be time to listen to what the universe is trying to tell you. You're drained instead of empowered. A healthy relationship should leave you feeling uplifted, inspired, and energized. While every partnership has its ups and downs, the overall impact of being with someone should be positive. But what if instead you feel constantly drained, mentally, emotionally, or even physically? This exhaustion can be a sign that the relationship is taking more from you than it's giving, and the universe might be trying to guide you toward a healthier path. When a relationship leaves you feeling depleted, it often stems from an imbalance in effort or energy. You might be the one always compromising, always initiating communication, or constantly trying to resolve conflicts. Over time, this can feel like you're carrying the entire weight of the relationship on your shoulders. Instead of growing together, you feel like you're being pulled down, stuck in a cycle of frustration and exhaustion. Emotional exhaustion in a relationship can also come from unfulfilled needs. If your partner doesn't validate your emotions, support your goals, or respect your boundaries, it creates an environment where you're constantly struggling to feel seen and valued. This battle to gain even the basics of emotional support can wear you down, leaving you wondering why you feel so empty despite being in a relationship. Another layer to this feeling of being drained comes from a lack of alignment in personal energy. If your partner is overly negative, controlling, or dismissive, their energy can seep into your own, disrupting your peace and stability. Even if you deeply care for them, this kind of dynamic can prevent you from living a fulfilling, balanced life. The universe often allows these feelings of depletion to persist as a way of urging you to pay attention. Your exhaustion isn't something to ignore. It's a sign that your energy is being misdirected. It's telling you that something about the relationship isn't serving your growth, and it's time to reevaluate. It's crucial to understand that love shouldn't feel like a constant struggle. A true partnership fuels you. It doesn't drain you. If you find yourself happier and more at peace when you're away from this person, it might be a sign that their presence isn't aligned with your path. By listening to these feelings and recognizing their message, you open yourself up to the possibility of a relationship that energizes and empowers you, one where you can thrive as your best self. Opportunities for connection are missed. In a meaningful relationship, moments of connection are the building blocks of intimacy and trust. These moments don't always need to be grand gestures. They can be as simple as a heartfelt conversation, a shared laugh, or a quiet moment of understanding. But what happens when these opportunities are consistently missed, avoided, or sabotaged? It may be a sign that the universe is trying to steer you away from this relationship. Imagine this. You're trying to open up about something deeply personal, but your partner brushes it off, changes the subject, or doesn't seem to listen. Perhaps you try to create meaningful memories together, going on trips, sharing experiences, but something always seems to go wrong. Maybe they cancel plans, show disinterest, or fail to be present even when they're physically there. Missed opportunities for connection can stem from various reasons. It could be emotional unavailability, where one partner struggles to engage deeply due to their own unresolved issues or fears. Or it could be a lack of mutual effort, where one person prioritizes other aspects of their life over the relationship. Regardless of the reason, the result is the same: a growing distance that becomes harder to bridge with time. This pattern can also make you feel isolated and lonely, even when you're together. You may find yourself longing for emotional intimacy and closeness, but facing a wall of indifference or neglect. Over time, these missed moments erode the foundation of the relationship, leaving you questioning its future. The universe often uses these repeated disconnects as a message to evaluate whether this person is truly capable of meeting your emotional needs. Are you constantly striving to create connections while feeling like your efforts are one-sided? Are you investing in a relationship where the other person isn't equally committed? It's important to remember that a healthy relationship is built on shared experiences and mutual effort. Both partners must actively work to nurture the bond, creating a space where connection flows naturally. If these opportunities are consistently missed, it's not just a sign of a weak connection, it's an indication that the relationship might not be meant to last. While it's painful to recognize, acknowledging this truth can be freeing. It allows you to step back and open yourself to a partnership where emotional intimacy and connection are celebrated, not ignored. The universe might be closing one door to guide you toward a relationship that fulfills you in ways this one never could. Your intuition warns you. There's a quiet yet powerful voice within each of us, our intuition. It's not always loud, but it's persistent. And when something feels off in a relationship, it often tries to warn us. If you found yourself feeling uneasy, doubting your connection, or experiencing a sense of discomfort around your partner, it may be your intuition trying to guide you toward clarity and truth. Intuition is not the same as fear or insecurity. It's a deeper knowing that something isn't right. Perhaps you notice a sense of dread before meeting them, or your energy feels depleted after spending time together. Maybe you've caught yourself hesitating before making decisions involving the relationship, wondering if this is truly the path you're meant to walk. These subtle signals might seem small, but over time, they add up and become impossible to ignore. Often, intuition manifests as physical sensations, a tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, or even a sense of restlessness. These feelings are your body's way of alerting you to potential misalignments. It's as if your subconscious mind has picked up on clues that your conscious mind hasn't fully processed yet. Ignoring your intuition can lead to prolonged unhappiness. You might try to rationalize your feelings, telling yourself that every relationship has problems or it's not a big deal. But deep down, you know when something isn't working. By ignoring that voice, you risk staying in a situation that hinders your growth, prevents you from experiencing true happiness, or even erodes your self-worth. Your intuition might also be warning you about a lack of trust or authenticity in the relationship. If you feel like you can't fully express yourself, if there's secrecy, or if something about your partner's behavior feels inconsistent, your gut is likely picking up on these red flags. These feelings aren't paranoia. They're insights designed to protect you from potential harm. The universe often uses intuition as a tool to guide us. It nudges us to listen, reflect, and take action, even when it's uncomfortable. Trusting your intuition doesn't mean walking away at the first sign of trouble, but it does mean acknowledging your feelings and exploring whether they're pointing to a larger issue. A healthy relationship feels secure, uplifting, and aligned. If your intuition tells you otherwise, it's worth examining why. Remember, this inner voice exists to protect and guide you toward what's best for your emotional and spiritual well-being. By trusting it, you open yourself to a connection that feels right on every level: mind, body, and soul. Healing feels impossible in their presence. One of the most vital aspects of a healthy relationship is its ability to support personal growth and healing. Life inevitably brings challenges, and the people closest to us should provide a safe space for us to recover, reflect, and rebuild. However, when you're with someone whose presence seems to hinder your healing rather than nurture it, it's a clear sign that the relationship may not be serving your well-being. Healing requires emotional safety, empathy, and patience. If your partner dismisses your pain, avoids difficult conversations, or even minimizes your struggles, it can feel like you're stuck in an endless loop of emotional wounds. Instead of feeling comforted and understood, you might feel even more isolated and burdened. This dynamic not only prevents healing, but often deepens the scars you're trying to mend. Sometimes the inability to heal comes from subtle behaviors that create a toxic environment. Perhaps your partner is overly critical, frequently invalidates your feelings, or brings up past mistakes in ways that reopen old wounds. Even if these actions aren't intentional, their impact can be profoundly damaging, leaving you questioning your self-worth and emotional stability. In some cases, their presence may remind you of the pain you're trying to move past. Whether it's because of unresolved issues in the relationship itself, or the fact that they were part of the hurtful experience, being around them can make it impossible to let go of the past. Instead of moving forward, you find yourself stuck in a cycle of hurt and resentment. The universe might be highlighting this pattern to push you toward a healthier path. It's as if it's saying, you deserve a space where you can heal fully without interference. A relationship that hinders healing isn't just a mismatch. It can actively prevent you from becoming your best self. Recognizing this truth can be painful, especially if you care deeply for the person. But it's essential to ask yourself whether staying in the relationship is costing you more than it's giving. Healing is a deeply personal journey, and being with someone who supports and encourages this process is crucial for your emotional and spiritual growth. Ultimately, the right relationship doesn't just coexist with your healing, it amplifies it. It creates an environment where you feel safe to confront your pain, embrace your vulnerabilities, and rebuild with strength. If healing feels impossible in their presence, it may be time to listen to what your soul and the universe is trying to tell you. A new path seems to open without them. Sometimes the clearest sign that a relationship is not meant to last comes when you start to see a different path opening in their absence. This isn't about fleeting moments of relief or the occasional thought of independence. It's about a deep, undeniable sense that life feels lighter, freer, or more aligned when they're not around. If opportunities, personal growth, or a sense of clarity emerge when you're apart, the universe might be showing you where you're truly meant to go. When you're deeply immersed in a relationship, it can be hard to see what's beyond it. But have you noticed that when you spend time away from them, whether physically or emotionally, you suddenly feel more focused or motivated? Perhaps you find yourself exploring new hobbies, reconnecting with friends, or simply rediscovering a sense of peace you hadn't felt in a long time. These moments are not coincidental. They're indicators that your energy flows more naturally without the constraints of the relationship. In some cases, the relationship may feel like it's keeping you tethered to an old version of yourself. It might prevent you from pursuing dreams, taking risks, or stepping into a more authentic life. The universe often clears space for new beginnings by gently, or sometimes abruptly, nudging you away from situations that no longer serve your higher purpose. You might also notice that opportunities, whether in your career, personal life, or even in other relationships, begin to appear when you're not with them. These openings are often subtle but significant. They could be as small as a newfound ability to focus on your passions, or as life-changing as meeting people who support and inspire you in ways your partner cannot. This isn't to say that the relationship was entirely negative. Many connections teach valuable lessons and serve their purpose in a particular season of your life. However, holding on to something that's no longer aligned with your growth can block you from experiencing the full potential of what lies ahead. The sense of freedom or clarity you feel without them isn't a betrayal of love. It's a natural shift as you realign with your truest self. Pay attention to these feelings. They're the universe's way of encouraging you to trust the journey and embrace the new possibilities waiting for you. Ultimately, the relationships that truly fulfill us don't hold us back. They amplify our ability to explore, grow, and thrive. If a new path feels clearer without them, it might be time to trust that this is where your future lies. Thank you for taking the time to explore this important topic with me. Life has a way of guiding us, even when the signs feel confusing or painful. The universe speaks to us in subtle ways, and by paying attention to these signals, we can make decisions that align with our growth and happiness. Remember, your intuition and inner peace are powerful guides. Trust them. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Let's continue exploring these journeys together. See you in the next video.